What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo, and today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls. One more thing before we actually get into the video, though. I've I've been trying to edit a little bit more videos that are going to come out. I have like 3, 4 in the books right now. I just need to edit them a little bit. One of them is about Minnesota. One of them is about Giannis being the best player in the world. I'm pretty sure another one is just about the overall takeaways from the last season, and or not takeaways, but more so winners and losers of the whole entire offseason. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I also have my top 20 players coming out. Again, I'm probably gonna have to edit the script by tomorrow, and probably gonna start, making the video. And it's probably gonna come out later this week or next week. It really depends. But let's just get into just the Chicago Bulls now. Earlier, I actually did have a video talking about the Chicago Bulls. I do think that when I made that video, I was very optimistic about them, and I would say I did have a change of mind. My heart kind of failed on them a little bit, but let's just get into it a little bit. So, I want to pull up some players that I'm not too sure about. So, first off, we got to talk about Lonzo Ball. So, when I first made my short about Lonzo Ball, there wasn't that much news coming out of it besides, he's just not being the best ever since injury. But after that, I think a day or two after, we got confirmation that he cannot jump right now. He cannot actually move his knee. Like, he's not playing basketball soon, and it's very disheartening from Zoe fan to see him kind of go out like this. I think Lonzo Ball is a really key contributor to this team. Let's look at the last day he was playing on this team. It was January, like January 14th, or against the Golden State Warriors. Like, I think that he should, I think that he's going to be a really good contributing piece of this team. But if he's not, then it's gonna look really bad for this team. And yeah, we could look at this and be like, oh well, the Chicago Bulls were not the best to start with. Well, I guess, but most of these losses were when Zach LaVine was out, and a guy like, I don't know, I forgot, but I'm pretty sure like during this time, like December-ish, they all had like COVID this time, so it was really bad. But essentially, like right around here, but more so it was probably here, this whole team just got ravaged because of injury and COVID. And I think one of the worst players to fall suit to this was Lonzo Ball. And while I would say that he's not necessarily an exception, he's always been an injury prone player. I think that we have players like Alex Caruso. He's not the most, durable himself, playing a 58 game season when there's 74 or 72 games. That's not the best. And even then, he hasn't been playing that much, like super duper recently. Even in this season, when he was very like, what day was it? It was a Milwaukee game, yeah. So even like after or before the Grayson Allen injury, he was still missing a lot of time, and it was not great to see for a guy like Alex Caruso. I think that the Bulls are just in trouble because of that. Now let's look at a guy like Nikola Vucevic. I don't think he was the best last season. I think you could kind of look at the stats and be like, oh, okay, well, he was playing solid. Yeah, his 2 point percentage was really great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how effective a spot up 2 pointer is gonna be in this league right now. But more so than that, if the 3 point ball is not going off like it has been in the last season, I just think that this team just doesn't really benefit from the 3 point percentage or from the 3 point line. Look at this team. Another thing about Lonzo Ball is that he's a really great shooter. He's shot like 8 threes a game in one of his seasons. Not the one last season, but like one of his New Orleans Pelicans seasons. And he was shooting around 40%. Looking at how this team just attempts threes, they're like bottom. They're the bottom. Like, yeah, they have really high 3 point percentage. Don't get me wrong. But they're quite literally at last place when it comes to 3 point attempts. The only reason why it's like kind of close to is because they have a guy like Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball. I think another thing to talk about with this roster is that overall their roster construction is just not the best. They have a guy like Kobe White, who, while I think you could kind of just look at him and be like, oh, well, he could honestly fit in their team. I don't know at this point. He's just not the most efficient player out there. I think that he kind of just takes away the ball from DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine a little bit, along with a guy like Lonzo Ball if he's on the court. But again, I think that Kobe White could find a really, really nice spot on this roster as like a six man. I think that if he's a six man more than he is like a starting guard, that I think that's pretty good. That's gonna be pretty good. But again, I think he's at heads with a guy like Io DeSumo for a roster spot. Let me pull Io DeSumo up. Where is he? I'm sorry, I'm like halfway asleep. I cannot find Io DeSumo. Hold on, I gotta Io. All right, I found bro. I found my boy. So, Io DeSumo is also a really good rookie. Like he genuinely did surprise me, especially on like his first couple of games. Like yeah, he didn't do well in the playoffs, but like he's a rookie, bro. He's a rookie on a team that was going up against the NBA champions at that time. Like what are we doing? Like but what's given the opportunity, let's just say like a random point here and then a random point right here. At the very beginning of the season, he was averaging really nice numbers. I would say he was also giving a lot more opportunity when a lot of people went down, like around January time, like around like literally the game after the Lonzo Ball incident. Like around this time, he averaged like around 12 points on really good efficiency. I think that he's also a really good spot for this team. I think that he also brings a little bit more defense on this team, and that's gonna be really good. Great. But I think when we talk about the stars on this team, again, a guy like Vooch, a guy like DeMar DeRozan, I don't think that they necessarily fit well. Yeah, they both are really good. Well, Vooch is an all right scorer, but a guy like DeMar, he's a great scorer at this point. I would say that he kind of suffers from one thing, and that is that he doesn't really take a lot of threes, and that he's kind of a really big playoff dropper. We even see it this year. And yeah, you could be like, oh, he was going against Drew Holiday. That is true, but like the amount of shots that he was missing outside of that game too was kind of crazy. But I don't know. Let's look at their modern day roster though, because I think that that's going to be a little bit more enticing. Oh, they also have Javante Green. I don't think he's going to be that important. He's also not important. I think what this team really needs though is, oh yeah, let me look at their stats last year. So they were the 13th rated offense. 13th. I mean, I know that Zach LaVine has missed a lot of time. Looking at Zach LaVine, it's kind of hard for him to be very active in this season. I don't think he's going to be the most durable, I guess is what I'm saying. And I want to say that this isn't the best season for him, but when we look at it from last season's perspective, this was him like probably fully healthy without like any ongoing injuries. If I'm pretty sure if LaVine had the ongoing injury that he had in this season, that he had last season, he probably would have just taken the surgery earlier. He had to take a surgery to like alleviate his, I think it's knee. It's either his knee or his like shin or something like that. But I'm pretty sure that Zach LaVine needed to get like a surgery for that. I think he's good to go. But like if he were to take that surgery, let's say like in March-ish, like January time, he probably wouldn't be able to play the whole season. I think that he's probably going to look a lot better depending on whether or not he's going to be injured. I think that it's probably going to be his healthiest season. I'm not going to lie to you. So, but I think overall, just look at this roster a little bit more, looking at, just the roster construction. I think that this team is going to struggle a little bit with one shooting. Oh, they have Goran Dragic. I completely forgot about that. That's actually a really good pickup. Depending on how much the dude, what's his name? Depending on how much Lonzo's out, I think that's going to be a really good pickup. I think he's going to be probably going to be the starting guard, honestly. But again, I think that the ratings here aren't really indicative to what they really were like at this point of the season. I'm pretty sure early in the season they're like the 7th rated defense. So yeah. However, I do want to talk about one thing, and that's just my overall playoff expectations of this team. Okay, so this video has gone a little bit longer than I expected it to, but let's just talk about my playoff expectations. So I think that the Bulls are kind of in trouble with one thing. They don't have really the best interior defenders. I think that a guy like Nikola Vucevic isn't really what you really want. And even a guy like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan can get blown by pretty easily. And I just think that this roster just needs a little bit more on the defensive side. That's why a lot of people were campaigning for them to get even DeAndre Ayton, instead of a guy like Vooch, or more preferably, I was really campaigning for Rudy Gobert. You know, a squad with Rudy Gobert, Zach LaVine, or not Zach LaVine, Rudy Gobert, Lonzo Ball, and Alex Caruso on the perimeter. I was like, okay, yeah, this may be the best team in the Central Division, even better than the Bucks. But I think right now there's still a lot of like really big questions I want to ask with this roster. So yeah, but that's it. It's been your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo. I hope you guys are having a great one. Let me know how you guys are feeling about the Chicago Bulls. I think earlier I was really optimistic about them, but as time has progressed, as we've heard more about the Lonzo injury, I'm starting to be down on the Bulls. So yeah, peace out.